The Live Stream Code and Rating Administration has rated this online event PG. All ages admitted. Please be kind and stay on topic.
Good afternoon, everybody, and happy Labor Day weekend. My name is Dave Sundstrom, and if you enjoy talking about music, movies, mostly television from decades gone by, well, you've come to the right place. So, today I can't even talk. I have a little bit of extra time, and I'm not going to be live streaming as I normally do on Thursday evening. So I thought, why not throw an impromptu live stream out there and see who's able to hang out and talk classic TV with me, a little classic TV chit chat. So this will be very different than normal live streams. I don't have anything. I have a few videos queued up that we can watch together, but more than anything else, I'll be reliant upon all of you for comments and conversation. So let me go ahead and see who is here with us. Let's see. Looks like Superfan Lance Chaffin is here. Welcome, Lance. Good to have you. Tom McCluskey may be here, may not. I think his 3 p.m. is Pacific time, so he may be arriving a little bit later. Jerry Gillespie is here. Jerry says, hey, Dave, can you do a segment on the British sitcoms PBS has shown since the 80s? My two favorites are Keeping Up Appearances and Are You Being Served? I will definitely add those to my potential topics lists. I didn't watch a ton of the PBS British sitcoms during the 80s, but I watched a few, a little bit. Danny Staten's here. Greetings from Kaysville, Utah to South Carolina, Danny. Good to have you with us. Chris Mason's here. Welcome, Chris. Hope you're having a wonderful Labor Day weekend. And Chris points out that this is the 50th anniversary of MASH. Let's see. I should say, let's think about this. Yeah, 1972 was when MASH debuted. Let's see, who else is here? Kenneth Wilkinson is here. He says, hi, Lance. Who else do we have here? Daryl Johnston is here, also saying hello to Lance. Welcome. Welcome, everybody. And Superfan Lance Chaffin points out that this Thursday, I have turned over live streaming duties to Thrash Pondo Pond, so Bob will be handling the live stream on Thursday evening. Welcome, Big Bad John. Hope your Labor Day weekend has been nothing short of phenomenal. Cindy D, welcome. Good to have you here with us on the live stream this afternoon. And Maud Matilda H, welcome. Rachel in the 208, good to have you here. And Superfan Jason Goldtrap, welcome as well. I just hope everybody's had a great Labor Day weekend. I certainly have. And, this is the icing on the cake for me to be able to carve out an hour to do a little live streaming and hang out with you guys. Welcome, Greg Barnett, Superfan Dave Claroni, Constance Cherry, good to have you here. Superfan Keith E, welcome. He says, after moving to Tennessee, I have greater interest in the Dukes of Hazzard, especially Daisy. That's awesome. Catherine Bach is a wonderful actress. And certainly as a young man in the 80s, she was a favorite of mine as well. Let's see who else we've got here. Maximus Prime, welcome. Good owner, good to have you here. John Doe, welcome to the live stream. Superfan John Collins, he says, Dave, a surprise live stream? Yeah, had a little extra time, and I am busy on Thursday, which means that I'm going to be handing over live streaming duties on Thursday to Thrash Pondo Ponds. So keep it open. Please plan on attending his live stream. He always does a wonderful job with the live streams. Let's see. I'd love to hear from folks in the chat as to what you've done this Labor Day weekend, if you've done anything special or if it's just been family time, watched anything good on television, Gone to the theaters and saw something great on the big screen? Let me know what you've done this weekend. Let's see. Rosy Cheeks, welcome. Hello from England. Well, hello from Kaysville, Utah. Uh, and Rosie says, thanks for the fun quizzes. I love those. Well, I will keep them coming. We'll do those my goal is to put a new one out every weekend. Let's see. Jay-Z, good to have you with us. He's letting me know, or they're letting me know, that Captain Kangaroo has a dark side. That's intriguing. I'll have to take a look and see what I can dig up on old Bob Keeshan. I suspect that there's probably a lot more good to dig up on the man than bad. Superfan Jason Goldtrap points out that MASH, the television series, ran 3 times longer than the Korean War. It sure did. Joe Block, welcome. Good to have you here. And Rosemary Magrino, I hope your Labor Day weekend has been nothing short of phenomenal. Sakina McMurrin, happy Labor Day, Dave. I hope you're feeling better. Still fighting a cold and a froggy throat. Thank you for the cup of virtual tea. Truly appreciated. Where Nomad has gone before is here. He says, or they say, hello, my friend. I love MASH. I even have the complete After MASH. How cool is that to have that set? That's not something that's easy to come by. Let's see. Who else do we have? I said hello to Superfan Danny Staten, I'm pretty sure. Welcome, if I haven't. I think I did. Rex Trex here in the house. Jim Seeking Grim is here as well. Superfan Jason Goldtrup says, I met Larry Linville, William Christopher, and McLean Stevenson. Met Jamie at a MASH Fest in Chattanooga where he was talking about his TV history. I yelled, Gong Show. Yeah, he was on the Gong Show, wasn't he? Let's see what else we have here. Superfan Dave Claroni says, I've been watching and listening to Andy Griffith Marathon while doing yard work and working out. You know what? I can't think of a better thing to do. A little bit of Andy to, just kind of, that's the perfect way to spend part of your Labor Day. One of my all-time favorite shows. Mike Mickey, welcome. Good to have you here on the live stream. Superfan Jason Goldtrap points out that, again, kind of continuing on his last comment, years later, Jamie Farr stayed at the Hermitage Hotel in Nashville. I mentioned that I shouted the Gong Show. He smiled. He said, that was you. I remember that. Loved being on the Gong Show. Too funny. Maximus Prime says, I know it's kind of a touchy subject, but I'd love to see a video on picture pages. That would be interesting. And you know what? I think we could still do something and keep it untouchy, for lack of a better way to put it. Superfan John Collins says, Dave, we recently switched to YouTube TV. Do you have any thoughts on the service? I have YouTube TV as well as Friendly TV, so I have them both as well. I tend to watch Friendly TV more, but I am the only member of the family that does. The rest of the family tends to watch YouTube TV more. Particularly, my wife enjoys watching the news networks, and my sons, when they're around, they use the DVR feature to record like particular television programs to watch on demand. Superfan Keith E says 56 people and only 5 thumbs up. Come on, people. What's going on here? Adrian James, good to have you here. Hope your Labor Day weekend has gone well. Rosalia Zarita, welcome. Happy Labor Day weekend to you. Yeah, Labor Day. Happy Labor Day to you. Let's see. No, I have not watched that, Danny. I did yard work all day today and haven't had a chance to really spend a lot of time doing any YouTubing yet. But I saw the message and I plan on watching it later. Thank you for the heads up. Let's see. Rosalia says, going to fly to Vegas tonight. I was in Vegas just a couple of weeks ago. Hope you have a good time. Lots of people there and super hot, but it's always a fun and very interesting town to visit. Maximus, let's see. No, I wanted to go here first. Maximus Prime says, thanks to Pluto TV, I've started watching Heartland. Very cool. Very, very cool. Let's see. And then they say, I think it's because it reminds me a lot of Little House on the Prairie. Interesting. I've never watched Heartland, so maybe that's something I should give a look to. Sakina says here, 2 thumbs up. Well, thank you so much, Sakina. Mercury Rising says, Dave, no tan as a result of the yard work? No, none whatsoever. The only thing I do is burn. So I've got my yard work cap that I put on, and I make sure I go out with plenty of sunscreen when I'm mowing the lawn and edging and all the stuff that's not all that much fun to do. I'd much rather be hanging out here live streaming or making a new video or something like that. But the yard work, well, it must be done, right? Okay. Well, hey, we're at a lull in the comments, so let me go ahead and throw a couple of videos your way, and then I'll come back and we'll visit some more. Folks, what I'd love to hear from all of you is how you've spent your Labor Day weekend, what you've done. If you've seen a great movie, if you've been watching some good television, tell me about it. If you have any questions for me, I'm here as well to answer those questions. But in the meantime, while I'm waiting for the chat to kind of replenish a little bit, let's watch a couple of videos and then I will be right back. All right, I'm back. Let's read some more comments. Maximus Prime says Heartland is probably the most clean-cut family friendly series I've seen in a long time. You know, a lot of folks say there aren't any good TV shows out there, and it's okay to wax nostalgic for the old-timey shows. I love them. You know I love them. That's what I talk about on this YouTube channel. But there are some good shows out there. And we just have to look a little harder, I think, these days. Let's see. Hat City Diggers, welcome. Good to have you here. Pika23 thinks that they might have COVID. I hope you're feeling better. I hope you don't, and that you mend quickly. Ozzy Crosby, welcome. Good to have you here. Keith DJ AF, welcome to the live stream. And Tim has been watching the Brit Show Time Team. Okay. Haven't ever seen that show. Let's see. Rex Trek says, I've been watching a lot of reaction videos of people reacting to the movies they've seen for the first time. We've all already seen. Those reaction videos are sometimes interesting to watch. I will say that at times I wonder how authentic they are, if the reactions are more staged than anything else, but they are fun to watch from time to time. Superfan Rom58 says, hey, I'm working this holiday pay. Love that. On lunch break right now. Well, thank you for joining us on your lunch break, Superfan Rom58. That means a lot to me. Superfan John Collins says, Dave, I just did as Keith said and liked the live stream. Well, thank you for doing that. I truly appreciate that, John. As I just finished sending you one of my rambly polite Twitter messages, it's lengthy, but I know you will read it. Appreciate it. Well, I always look forward to your messages. And folks, I'm on Twitter at JD Sundstrom is my handle, and you're always welcome to message me over there as well. But I'll look forward to reading that, John. Let's see. Jerry Gillespie says, Dave, I had a thought. Say if Mary Tyler Moore never auditioned for the Dick Van Dyke Show, do you think Eleanor Donahue would have made a good Laura Petrie since she left the Andy Griffith Show? I think she would have been a phenomenal Laura Petrie. She would have been slightly different, maybe more than slightly different. But I have a hard time envisioning anyone other than Mary in that role. I've got to be totally honest. Let's see. Where Nomad has gone before says, thanks for all your videos. I missed the promise they used to do. Okay. I'm not sure what you're talking about when you say the promise they used to do, but you're very welcome. I love putting together the videos. Rachel in the 208 says, I used to love Too Close for Comfort, as did I. Great cast, including, obviously, it goes without saying, the wonderful Ted Knight. Brenda Bunch, welcome to the live stream. Good to have you here with us. Yeah, I love those classic promos. I really do. The music, the dancing. Someone else pointed out earlier, just a bunch of happy people. It just lifts my spirits watching those things, and they take me back because I remember watching them when they were actually airing on television. Cindy D says, Casey Kasem's voice. Yes, the voice of Robin on Super Friends. Good old Casey Kasem. Also the voice of Shaggy on Scooby-Doo. Mercury Rising said, what changed your mind recently about Chris Monroe being your favorite angel? Well, here's the deal. I change my mind about those kind of things a lot. Often it has a lot to do with what I'm watching, what I'm researching for video work. I love all of the angels. I definitely have some favorites. Cheryl Ladd, Jacqueline Smith, and I really like Tanya Roberts coming in at the tail end. But I reserve the right to change my mind on that at any time, and I frequently do. But obviously, I just put together a video on Cheryl Ladd and a bit of a nightmare that she had, and that's my latest video. And so I've been thinking a lot about Cheryl Ladd, and she certainly is inspirational. And it's not only the stuff she's done on screen, but the work that she's done off screen from a volunteer perspective. Keith DJAF says, I decided to abandon society in 1989. I haven't watched network TV on a network since. I missed a lot of this kind of stuff. Yeah. Well, you know what? I don't know exactly what you mean by abandoning society in 89. That's a long time ago. And you've missed out on a lot of great entertainment if you haven't watched anything since then. But welcome back. At least welcome back to the world of YouTube. And good to have you here, Keith. Let's see. Silence while I scan through these. Superfan Mike D's in the house. Welcome. Good to have you here. Let's see. There he is. Good day to you, Superfan Mike D. Big Bad John says, I only watch old shows and classic movies. You know what? You can't go wrong. But you are, if you're completely ignoring all of the new stuff out there, you're missing some good entertainment too. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Keith DJF says, I have the entire run of Voyagers. Remember that one? I certainly do. As a matter of fact, I've done a video on John Eric Hexum and one on Mino Palouse. So great actors, and certainly have fond memories of Voyagers, although it only ran for a single season on NBC during the 70s. It was a fantastic show and deserved to run for much longer. Daryl Johnson says, what in the wide world of sports is going on? Who's to say? Who's to say? What we have here, my friend, is a live stream, an impromptu live stream at that. It's Labor Day weekend. Things are winding down. Many of us have to go back to work tomorrow. And you know what? What better way than just to hang out with a bunch of good people for an hour or so? Cindy D says she had the day off. I'm so happy that you were able to do that and spend it with family. Let's see. Maud Matilda H says, over the weekend, I found the 80s Mission Impossible TV series. Yes, with Greg Morris's son. And I've been watching that. Very cool. Binge watching that. That is a show that I remember watching in the 80s. I haven't watched since, though. Hey, it's my buddy Barry King. He says, hey there, Big D. Love the Howard Morris vid and all of the good stuff. Thank you so much. It's an old vid. I cringed when I actually shared that because the audio on it is not good. There's a lot of things I'd change about it. Maybe one of these days I'll polish that thing up again and put it back out. But thank you for the kind words. Of course, folks, hopefully you all are aware of Barry King, his radio program BK on the air that airs every Saturday on WBHF in South Carolina. And it's just a fantastic show. If you enjoy listening to me ramble on about the good stuff, music, movies, and TV from decades gone by, well, he does it so much better. And he just packs it all into 2 hours of goodness. And then he takes that radio broadcast and turns it into a podcast. He also puts it on YouTube. It becomes the bionic version because he puts in all sorts of retro commercials and all sorts of good stuff. Love BK on the air. Don't worry about he says, sorry type of promos. Not sure what that means. Let's see. Big Bad John says, I'd like to see reaction to Dave's Sundstrom videos. That would be interesting. Most people would say, come on, speed it up. Talk a little faster. Get to the point. Those are things I hear in comments from time to time. Let's see. Cindy D says, Ted Knight and Lydia Cornell did not get along. It is true that there were tense moments, but I've talked to Lydia a little bit about that. And it wasn't so much that they didn't get along, but that Ted was a very exacting performer, and he was a professional to the nth degree. And so he would get sometimes frustrated with someone who was a novice in the industry. But she has tremendous respect for Ted and tons of fond memories of their time working together. Manly Stranger points out that Casey was also in Battle of the Planets. And Rachel, the 208, says Casey K was the greatest of all time. Oh, Superfan John Collins says, Dave, please promote the heck out of your new awesome podcast. Woohoo, there's more and more to the good stuff. Yes, folks, if you aren't sick of me, you can actually listen to me on your iPhone, whatever device you have. You can find me on iTunes, their podcast platform, on the Google podcast platform, and others. And all you have to do is search for Good Stuff, Dave Sundstrom. You will find my podcast there. So thanks for the reminder, John. Let's see. Maximus Prime points out that Shelley Hack was the unfortunate angel. She really was. She came into a tough situation, and I think she handled it with dignity and grace. Manly Stranger says, I recently watched My Living Doll. Yeah, Julie Newmar, early stuff there. I've only seen clips of the show. I'd really like to watch a few more episodes. Might have to do some searching, see what I can come up with. Let's see what we've got. I'm about 5 minutes behind in comments here, so let me move kind of fast here. Rosalita says, give Bosley some love too. You have to. Charlie's Angels. Tanya Roberts was no acting angel, says Cindy D. You know what? I think she actually had a knack for comedy. I think she may have been just kind of out of her element coming in as the new Angel. But boy, was she good in that 70s show. Mike D, superfan Mike D says, my wife and I are binging Lost this summer. Interesting show. I only caught episodes of it with my wife. I didn't commit to it. I'm kind of glad I did. Superfan Emily Miller says, well, hello, y'all. Hey, I hope your wife is doing better, Emily. I hope she's on the mend. Thanks for popping in. Keith, DJAF says, Dave, I torrent everything to avoid commercials. That's why I DVR things, so I can just speed through them. Let's see. Daryl Johnson says the new stuff will soon be old. That's true. Maximus Prime points out says that I read Aaron Spelling wanted Sherry Belafonte, but somehow they ended up with Shelley Hack. I hadn't heard that. That's interesting. Rachel in the 208 says, loved Voyagers. Mercury Rising says, I did not like Tanya Roberts' character. Sorry, but I really like you, though, Dave. That's okay. We can have differences of opinion. As a matter of fact, I love it when we have differences of opinion. That's what makes the world fun. If everybody agreed with everything everyone said, what an awfully boring world this would be. Maximus Prime says Voyagers was awesome. Michael Staunton's coming in, hanging out with us on the live stream all the way from Ireland. Welcome, good to have you here. Sakina McMurrin says, growing up for me, it was Kate Jackson, freshly off the Rookies. She's great. I love Kate. Daryl Johnson says some of the old stuff doesn't hold up well. Adrian James says, I've been watching the original V miniseries and the final battle. Love the original. The final battle, not as much, but it was okay. Let's see. I'm going to scroll through here. I would never forget you, Emily. Superfan Emily Miller. Hey, it's Rob Bacon. Says, I made a bunch of wild stock investments and retired at 35. Well, that is awesome that you were able to do that. I spent most of my career in the financial services industry. So, there are those that get lucky and are able to do that. There are others that just kind of take the slow train to retirement wealth through mutual funds and other kind of investments that way. But I'm glad it worked for you. Let's see. James Bodnerchuk's here. Good to have you with us, James. Welcome to the live stream. I hope your Labor Day weekend has gone well. Let's see. Yeah, I think Keith DJAF is talking about Mino Palouse, Punky Brewster's older sibling. He was on Voyagers. Superfan Lance Chaffin points out that V is on Tubi. Tubi's a marvelous, marvelous service. If you don't mind dealing with some commercials, it's a great way to watch a lot of good old retro TV. My buddy Barry King says it's been a great Labor Day weekend here in Georgia. Dragon Con. Yeah, are you Georgia, South Carolina? I couldn't remember where WBHF was located. Dragon Con wrapping up, plus Guardians of the Galaxy getting close to wrapping up shooting here as well. Awesome. That is so cool. I've heard so many good things about Dragon Con. One of these days I'd like to go. See, is today the day that the new episodes of Cobra Kai drop on Netflix? I think they might. Yes, Manly Stranger points out that Tanya Roberts was also excellent in The Beastmaster. Yes, she was. And A View to Kill, says Superfan Lance Chaffin. Keith DJAF says, I keep eclectic stuff on my drive, all the old Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy shows, movies, radio broadcasts, Monty Python. Sounds like great stuff. Sounds like a lot of good entertainment. Maximus Prime says, currently watching both Lost in Space series back to back. Awesome. Superfan John Collins says, Dave, is there a Blu-ray set with extra features of the Ernest films? I'm not sure if there is. I kind of doubt it. Superfan James Bodnerchuk says, do you recall the original Rupert the Bear show? I do not. He then goes on to say, I believe it originally aired in the 60s but ran in reruns in the 70s. I did not ever see that show. Superfan Dave Claroni says, Dave, what British comedies did you enjoy? I did not watch any British comedies growing up. So I've watched some of Man what is it, Man in the House or Man About the House, the Three's Company, the original version of that from the British, from over on the UK. But I have not watched a ton of British comedies. Smedley Do Right says, I try to avoid Apple. I have a cheap Sansa clip. I have a cheap Sansa clip as well. I'll try to find your podcast on my podcast provider. Good luck. Hope you do. Daryl Johnson reminds folks to hit the like button. And you know what I'm going to do real quick because I'm falling behind. We're going to watch a couple videos, fall further behind, but I'm going to go back and kind of highlight a few of the comments and try to get caught up here. So let's do that. Let's take a brief break and we will be back before you know it on this special impromptu Labor Day TV and movie and whatever else you want to talk about, chit chat. So it's just great having you all here. It's awesome. I look at that number, 86 people hanging out with me today. Very fun. But anyway, without any further ado, let's take a brief break. I'll be right back.
Nowadays, there's a lot of interest in identifying a person's roots. You know, we've just got thrown into a big hopper and we're all homogenized and everything is all the same. And it looks to me like that kind of thing would be valuable and important again today. You know, to help people see that there are some diversities in our society, that there's regional differences.
I think I know what you mean, or part of what you mean. At least I'll take what I would like you to mean. That the powers that be at CBS, a couple of 2 years ago, decided that there should be no more rural shows on television, for instance. And if you are saying that there are differences in us and that we all don't come from a city and that we all don't come from the same ethnic background, yes, and I agree. And I think we do need rural humor. I think it's always been around and I think it always will be around.
My kids watch Petticoat Junction, for example, on the rerun. They watch your program on our station on the rerun, and they identify with that. They like that. They enjoy that. And I wonder what was in the mind of those people at CBS in deciding that they wanted to divorce themselves and make everybody sound like he's from Indianapolis.
Well, one of the things they believe, and whether this is true, I can't be sure. Part of it's true, I guess. They believe that small-town USA is dying and disappearing from our country. And they believe that television audiences are too sophisticated for the fact that they have watched television for a long time to be able to buy or even enjoy entertainment such as Petticoat Junction or Beverly Hillbillies or our show.
Hiya, Pinky. How you?
It's the love story that shook the world.
I love her?
There's drama, action, and romance. Fonzie loves Pinky right after Happy Days.
The original Battle of the Network Stars aired from 1976 to 1988. During the competitions, well-known actors and actresses would compete in events such as the swimming relay, tennis, a dunk tank, and the one that decided it all, the tug of war. Within these events, there were some really great moments, not the least of which was the dunk tank competition. If you think about it, this one is kind of silly and not really much of a sporting event at all. Still, I loved it for reasons that would have been obvious to any teenage boy. The year that both Heathers, Locklear, and Thomas were in the dunk tank together was huge. Where else would you get pop singer Debbie Boone, Joyce DeWitt, and from Battlestar Galactica, Maren Jensen together like this? And a shout out has to go to the late great Howard Cosell. I can't remember a time when Cosell didn't treat these entertainers with respect and dignity. When he interviewed Gabe Kaplan, he acted as if he were talking to Muhammad Ali or Bruce/Caitlyn Jenner. All right, we are back. Let me see if I can get to some of these comments that I highlighted while we were watching those videos. All right, Rachel in the 208 says, Voyagers was educational to me. Yeah, I think a lot of us learned from Voyagers. And Maximus Prime points out that Tanya Roberts was also good as Sheena, sure was. Superfan Emily Miller says, thank you, Dave. This is in reference to her wife having COVID. I keep hoping whatever I was going through last week was my turn. If not, ugh. Yeah, not looking forward to it. I still haven't had COVID. Not many. One of my sons has. That's it so far. Keith, DJAF says, I'd like to get a hold of a Space Nuts episode. You're talking about Far Out Space Nuts. And that Shrinking Guy. So you're talking about Dr. Shrinker. Both Croft TV shows. They came from the minds of Sid and Marty Croft. Good stuff. Rosalia says, anyone remember Battle of the Network Stars? Well, we just talked about Battle of the Network Stars. Maximus Prime says, Voyager seemed like it can morph into a multiversal series. Yeah, it kind of did. And Rosemarie asks, are we doing trivia tonight, Dave? Hadn't planned on it. This is more impromptu. I haven't got anything I'm prepared for trivia. We definitely could, though. We'll see. If folks want trivia tonight, we can do some trivia. I'll just grab a copy of Remind magazine and we'll use some of their trivia there. Let's see. Maximus Prime says, kind of like Sliders was based on it first. Yeah, Voyagers and Sliders, they have similar DNA, right? John Doe says, anyone seen Captain Isotope? It's fairly new, but made to look like a movie serial. I haven't seen that. Superfan Emily Miller says, Rosemary, I think Rosemary was asking what this was like, what this live stream was about today. It is just a random live stream. Hadn't really planned on doing it, but I'm not able to live stream on Thursday, so I thought, you know what, hey, I'll come on, hang out with you guys for a little bit and just enjoy everybody's company as we wind down Labor Day weekend. Superfan Mike D says, speaking of the good stuff, we saw Jaws in an IMAX theater a couple of days ago. Awesome. I can only imagine. I haven't ever seen Jaws in a movie theater. The first time I saw it was on videotape years later. Jerry Gillespie says, remember David Doyle as Bosley. Yeah, I can't forget David Doyle. He was great. And Kevin 10,001. That's what we'll call you, Kevin. Says Pluto has some good classic TV on it as well. Sure does. And a lot of it's on demand. Pika 23 says Friendly TV has MeTV. Yeah, MeTV is getting dropped across the country. Really sad that that's happening. But a lot of these local TV stations are owned by these big broadcasting conglomerates that actually have their own networks that they want to put on that bandwidth. So the broadcast spectrum, and as such, our MeTV is getting dropped by a number of different, I think it's like 12 stations across the country as of September 1. It's not $4.99 a month. It's $6.99 a month for the lowest tier of Friendly TV. I actually pay for the $8.99 a month version that allows me to have an unlimited DVR. Just records like crazy for 3 months. It'll save everything for 3 months. And so all of my favorite shows, I just have it set to record them all so that I can just watch them on demand on Friendly TV. Love the service. $6.99 a month for the base package. I'll post a link to Friendly TV in the description section. I have a partnership with Friendly TV, and if you use my link, they give me a little bit of financial love. Not a lot, but a little bit. A hug, if you will. And so if you're interested in that service, please use the link. Superfan Dave Claroni points out that, yes, the new Cobra Kai episodes dropped today. I'd like to watch them, but I think I'll wait for my boys to come home from school next week. They're away from home, and they come home on the weekends. Cindy D says, love Pluto TV. Mercury Rising says, thinking about how good those episodes of Charlie's Angels were when Farrah guest starred, I thought it would have been great with 4 angels, the original angels plus Cheryl. Yeah, awesome. Adrian James says, do you remember Star Trek the Motion Picture coming out in 1979? Absolutely. Love Star Trek the Motion Picture. One of my favorite films of all times, even though I recognize that Wrath of Khan is probably... I said one of my favorite. It's a favorite. Wrath of Khan is my favorite Star Trek movie. Matilda H says that today's Freddie Mercury's birthday. What a great, great performer Freddie Mercury was. And Superfan Emily Miller says, love Freddie Mercury. Sakina McMurran says Shelley Hack was the spokesperson for Charlie Perfume, a successful model, but not the best actor. Yeah, that's how she got the gig, was the Charlie commercials. Brenda Bunch says, speaking of Lost in Space, the Netflix version is pretty good. I watched the first 2 seasons and haven't finished it up. I need to. Oh, I did watch Benny Hill a little bit, just because the word on the street was, in the schoolyard was, if you watched Benny Hill when you were a kid, and it was like at 10 p.m. or later here locally, that you might see something that you wouldn't normally see on television. So I watched it. Thought it was funny, but never really, saw anything that was too crazy. Let's see. What else do we have? Tim says, love those Brit comedies. Saw them all before the Americans gave them a go. Awesome. I'm feeling better. Still a little bit. The throat's a little hoarse, but thanks for asking. Let's see. Yeah, the other night was rough. Definitely rough. Let's see. Blaze Ronstat's here. Welcome to the live stream. Says, Mr. Dave, Ken Barry on Mayberry RFD was living in the Waltons' house. I mentioned this before, you didn't say anything. Probably just because I didn't see it. And I did not realize that. Stayed home this weekend, swam with my dogs in the pool. Sounds like an awesome weekend. Sounds relaxing. Zuperplex says, William Paley didn't like the hillbilly orientation the network had taken. I thought it was Fred Silverman, who was working at CBS, that made all those changes that really became known as the Rural Purge. Let's see what else we have here. Thanks for hitting the like, Keith DJF. Willie says, I'm 73, loved Warner Brothers, William Morris series, Sunset, Hawaiian Eye, Surfside, Bourbon Street, and all the westerns of the 50s and early 60s. Have them all on DVD, but recorded off TV. Any streamers showing any of those shows? Yeah, absolutely. Well, streamers, Friendly TV has access to MeTV, has access to FETV, has access to Decades, and a lot of those shows are on there, particularly on FETV. And Inspiration as well is another network that has a lot of those old westerns on it. So you may want to give Friendly TV a look. I'm not sure if Tubi has anything like that on. A lot of the Tubi retro stuff is from the 70s and 80s. Let's see. I'm so far behind in the chat. Superfan, I'm going to just start reading Superfan chats for a minute and get caught up. Superfan Dave Claroni says, Dave, thanks for the Andy Griffith interview. I hadn't seen that in years. Let's see. Superfan Superplex says, if she had dressed like that in the 50s, we're talking about Pinky Tuscadero there. Yeah, she would have been arrested probably. Superfan Superplex says, in the 70s, the sex symbols were sexy but not slutty. Well, okay. Superfan Emily Miller says, Melissa Gilbert, Melissa Joan Hart got on the teenage dirtbag photo trend that's on Twitter, or not on Twitter, on, oh my gosh. What's that other streaming platform? I can't believe I can't remember what it is right now. This is the problem with getting old. Somebody help me. Starts with a T. Let's see. Superfan Superplex says, hello, Daryl. Superfan John Collins says, Cobra Kai Season 5 is on there now. Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching that. Superfan Rom58 says, from day one, Jackie Smith, my favorite angel. Let's see what else we got here. Superfan Emily Miller says, Jackson was mine. Not sure what we're talking about there. Let's keep moving. Keep moving. Superfan Emily Miller says, random question, but does anyone know how Spike Spikerson is doing? Haven't seen him in quite a while. Here, let me tell you a story about Spike Spikerson. There was a point months ago where he just said a few things that were inappropriate, and I put him in a 5-minute timeout, and I think I might have hurt his feelings. And as a result, he hasn't returned. So that's the story of Spike Spikerson. It makes me feel bad that was the case. But if you all remember, occasionally his jokes would just get a little bit, well, they could cross the line. Rom58, superfan Rom58 says Voyagers was terrific. Love the time traveling aspect. I love all time traveling TV shows. One of my favorite things to watch. Superfan Superplex says, good question, John. Let me go back and see what John's question was. John's asking, why can't you do Thursday Live anymore, if you don't mind me asking? I can and I will continue. I did Thursday Live last week and will do it as I have the ability to do so. I just have a conflict this Thursday. That's kind of one of the reasons I'm here doing it right now. But I still plan on live streaming on Thursdays as much as possible. Rachel in the 208 says, I think Friendly is awesome. I do too. I love Friendly TV. And Emily Miller says, superfan Emily Miller says, as far as we know, this is my wife's first bout, and I don't know for sure about me. I'm glad you're not holding on to any of the effects. It sounds like we're talking about COVID there. Okay, let's see. Superfan Superplex says, there's no Friendly TV here in Puerto Rico, but you will be helping Dave with each subscription. Yeah, so yeah, if you're able to subscribe to Friendly TV, it's appreciated. Let's see. Terrell Eugene Bellinger says, Dave, would you please consider doing a video on Fred McMurray and the McMurray effect in a future video? Well, I don't know what the McMurray effect is, but I do love Fred McMurray. I will definitely consider that. One Dude, good to have you here. Got an itchy nose. Get that itch. Let's see. Superfan Jason Goldtrap gives us a spoiler here. Okay. Rom58, not sure what that means. Probably if I'd read every comment in the chat, I would understand. Let's see. Superfan John Collins says, how do we make sure you get credit for sending us to Friendly TV? If you use the link in the description section, which I will put after the live stream, I'll get credit. And yeah, what end of the day, what's most important to me is that you have a streaming service and you're able to access the television shows that you want to watch. So while I do appreciate the credit, not a big deal. Superfan Emily Miller says, we still have MeTV available through an antenna. That's great. It's a great way to watch it. I have access to it through an antenna as well here. I do prefer watching it on on Friendly, just it's a better picture. But they both work really good. Let's see. Rom58 says, I'll miss those rural shows. Yeah, I miss the rural shows as well. But I say I miss them. They're there. They're there for us to watch. And we can go back and watch them whenever we need to. Superfan Emily Miller says, I have a hand sanitizer everywhere and still wear a mask in public. I wear a mask right now as well because I'm coughing all over the place. I think a mask has its place. Let's see. I'd like to get caught up here. Let's see. Let's do this. I'm going to take a... there was conversation about Fred Silverman here. I asked about Fred Silverman. Fred Silverman did put on All in the Family, MASH, Mary Tyler Moore, Sonny and Cher, Maude for CBS. And then later on, yeah, he moved to ABC, and he was responsible for Laverne and Shirley, Three's Company, Charlie's Angels. Then he moved to NBC and did not have similar success. Oh, let's see what we got going here. Time for a break, folks. Watch a couple videos, and then I will be right back. We'll talk some more.
Introducing the Bundys of Chicago, a family like you've never seen.
Mom, Dad, You're grounded.
Al Bundy, a real man's man.
Now I'm going to watch the news. And when it's over, I want some form of dead animal on my plate.
His lovely wife, Peggy.
Don't mind Al. It's just his time of the month.
Their two wonderful children.
You're disgusting. And you're failing 5 classes.
And their newlywed neighbors.
I love you, Marcy.
I love you, Steve.
I hate them, Peg.
They hate you, Al.
They're not the Cosbys. They're the Bundys. And they're married with children.
Beginning in 1972, MASH ran for 11 seasons before ending with a series finale that was one of the most watched television programs of all time. And while I did watch MASH when it was on CBS's primetime lineup, it was during its syndicated run here in Salt Lake City that I really grew to love the show, which would air 2 times a day on KSL television. once in the evening and then later on at night. In fact, at 10 p.m. KSL would broadcast this very important message on the screen. Parents, a voice would say, "It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?" Of course, my folks always did. We weren't allowed to stay out late in our home. And then the KSL Eyewitness News would start. Norse, Welty, and James were the anchors. These guys were iconic in the 70s and 80s in Utah. And as part of their sign-off, they would say, "Stay tuned for MASH." And then behind them, MASH would start and slowly transition to a full screen. At least that's how I remember it happening. Back then, CBS didn't have a viable late-night talk show to compete with Carson, so KSL, which was our local CBS affiliate, relied on MASH to compete with the then king of late-night comedy. And compete it did, at least in our home. As we grew older and became teenagers, bedtimes were abolished, but unless it was a weekend, my folks had a fairly hard and fast rule that MASH was pretty much the last thing that any of us were allowed to watch on television before retiring to our bedrooms. And because of that rule, well, pretty much everyone in our home grew to love this show. Of course, MASH did not start on the small screen. It was a movie directed by Robert Altman, and it was one of the biggest films of the early 70s for 20th Century Fox. That said, even though the movie was a big hit, the success of the television show dwarfed that film. As I think back, that cast really was amazing. This show truly was Alan Alda's shining moment, but everyone, and I do mean everyone, who made up the show's central cast of characters had reason to be proud. All right. Let's go back and read a few more comments here. Oh, let's start here. Maximus Prime says, Ritzy, Roz, Kelly seem to rub a lot of people in the Happy Days cast the wrong way, in particular Henry Winkler. Shame for such a heavily promoted character who only lasted a handful of episodes because of exactly that. Lynn F. says, just got here. Sorry to hear you haven't been feeling well and hope you have a speedy recovery. Thanks so much, Lynn. Truly appreciate that. Jeff King says, fairly new to your channel. Love it. Just saw this live chat. Well, welcome to the live chat. Thanks for hanging out with us this afternoon, Jeff. I'm glad you're enjoying the channel. Let's see what else we got here. Zuperplex asks, so is T-Pond still going through with the live stream? Yes. Thrash Pondo will be live streaming on Thursday in my place. I have a conflict this weekend. I still plan on live streaming most Thursdays. John Billinger says, Dave, your channel is always a breath of fresh air. Thank you. Thanks so much, John. You guys don't know how much the kind words mean to me. This is a hobby for me. I put together these videos. It's just me. That's why the channel is called Dave Sundstrom and not called Faxverse or Do You Remember? Those channels have teams of people, scores of people. They're companies that are putting together these videos. I am Dave Sundstrom. It's just me. The videos I put together are crafted, written, and everything's done by me. And that's because it's just a hobby for me. It's fun. It's something that I love doing. And I love reading the comments and responding. And, it also provides those videos provide a launch pad for live streams like this. Let's see. Terrell Eugene Bellinger says, I wish Voyagers could have lasted more seasons if John Eric Hexum hadn't died in a tragic freak accident while working on another show in real life. Yeah, it's super sad what happened there. I recently reposted that video that I made about John Eric Hexum, and it's a tragedy that he died so young. It was so good though that he was an organ donor, and his death, while horrible, helped other people. Yes, Tom, you are correct. Thrash Pondo will be subbing for me this Thursday. Please hang out with Thrash Pondo. He's so much fun and he's so knowledgeable. Jeff King says, I've been collecting DVDs for 15 years, over 375 seasons of television, all old shows. Love the 50s, 70s TV. Great shows. Don't do paid TV. All right, let's see. And Superfan John Collins says, I enjoy the retro programming. I guess that means I'm getting older, in my mid-40s. However, the problem is that they do not air the programs in order. Yeah, that is a problem sometimes, huh? All right, folks. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to show a couple more videos, but I think I'm going to get out of here. We'll keep this one to an hour today. I just want to say thank you so much. Thank you for being part of my YouTube community. Thank you for hanging out with me, helping me to just, really kind of the perfect way to cap off a Labor Day weekend. And so appreciate all of you. Appreciate the great engagement in the chat. Stick around. I have a handful of videos that I'll share. And as always, thank you so much for being part of this great community. All right, let's go ahead and start right here.
Why doesn't the beaver ever learn his lesson? He has often taught his lesson. He promises to remember his lesson, but the next day he's forgotten his lesson. Is he deliberately ignoring his lesson? Not exactly. New evidence suggests that beaver's lesson enters one ear, floats around his head for a few seconds, but avoids having any contact with his brain before exiting out the other side of his skull.
Oh, so that's it.
Learn your lesson. Watch Leave It to Beaver, weeknights in TV Land.
I hope this will be a good lesson to you.
There are lots of reasons why I loved the Green Hornet growing up. Despite its relatively short run on television, the TV show with Bruce Lee as Kato and Van Williams as the Hornet was really well executed and so much fun to watch. I loved the theme music, the Black Beauty, and all of the Green Hornet's other amazing gadgets like the Hornet Sting, which would unlock any door and render other devices useless. Of course, it didn't hurt that the Green Hornet came from the same folks that brought us this show. That said, I'm glad that William Dozier and team decided not to treat the Green Hornet in the same campy way that they did Batman. I was such a fan of the show that my dad brought me this book home from a business trip, and I'm pretty sure he read it to me multiple times as I would try to fall asleep. Quick sidebar to give a shout out to the recent reunion of Green Hornet and Batman in comic book form. It's a pitch perfect callback to both of these great TV shows.
Wednesday, if you blink your eyes, you might miss the greatest American hero.
I'm invisible.
I can't deal with this, Ralph.
But the nation's got bigger problems.
There's $50 million government dollars in a top-secret gun sight riding with that jock.
Ralph may be fading in and out, but he'll be here Wednesday.
Don't you sit there. Come on and play.
There are McDonald's $1 million Build-A-Big Mac game.
Wow. Raising some Coca-Cola to a Big Mac sandwich.
Even win $100,000.
Holy cow!
McDonald's biggest game ever.
But you can't win if you don't play. Well, don't just sit there. Let's go build a Big Mac and start building our fortress together.
Introducing the RCA Video Disc Player, the extraordinary machine that plays extraordinary records you watch on your TV. Get records that let you have John Travolta dancing on your floor, Gene Hackman driving through your living room, The Godfather staying at your house.
Bring the magic home on RCA.
With the RCA Video Disc Player and Video Discs, you can see magic on your own TV. With RCA Video Discs, you see the entertainment you really want when you want. Uninterrupted, with a picture that's bright, sharp. You just got to see it. Right now, your RCA Video Disc dealer has this remarkable machine for less than $500. So hurry down to his showroom for a demonstration of the RCA Video Disc Player. It's going to change the way you watch television.
Okay, I said I was done, and I was done until my good friend and community member Larry Potter dropped this super chat into the super chat. He says 1966 was when I discovered both the Green Hornet and Star Trek. I discovered them later on, both in reruns. I was a little bit too young in 66, but I certainly love both shows. I first discovered the Green Hornet as a result of the Batman TV series. Green Hornet and Kato made a guest appearances as it was kind of a spinoff. It really wasn't, but it had the same production team, Bill Dozier's production team, and the same network, ABC. Trek, I just grew to love in the early 70s in reruns. So I wanted to pop back in and say thank you to Larry Potter for the wonderful super chat. Truly appreciated, Larry. Not expected today on this kind of a live stream, but I really do appreciate it. So thank you very much. And you know what that means. I'm not going to do that. I watched Elvis. I saw it in the theaters, but then again, it's on Peacock, the Peacock streaming service. So maybe this is an appropriate way to say thank you to you, Larry.
Thank you very much. 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 Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks for all your support, my friend. Truly appreciated. Let me go ahead and let's go ahead, and I've got one more video and then I am out of here. So stick around for this and then we'll talk to you all soon.